Alright, this is Generation Next, not issue 177. It is issue 49, the third comic in the Jason Faerber run on Generation Next. This issue brings 90s excellent men reject Maggot onto the team. I think he fits much better in this book, and the story here deals with him, but we have a few editorial troubles with this comic. The first of which is a funeral, so can we have a moment's silence for the fold out recap page. Between issues we abolished them. Tom Beevort, one of the main editors at Marvel, he got rid of them. He thought they were embarrassing and uninviting. He thought they turned people off comics. Contraire, what is embarrassing and uninviting is a fat slob who, rather than edits, enforces his own disinterested edicts onto everyone else. I have said before, them recap pages, they are brilliant. They fill you in on everything you could need in that. The book's set up, the stuff that has happened recently that is relevant, the cast of characters and some of their important backstory or their powers. I didn't think that it is in any way uninviting to old and new readers, and or to remind people of Summit if it means that they can get the most out of a comic. I'll actually point to parts of this issue where a recap page would have been ideal. And you know what? If you didn't like it, didn't bother unfolding it, you stupid piss flap. We have a story here that is to set up and include Maggott into this book's cast. There is a big game hunter who wants to poach Maggot's pet maggots. I realise I have not actually explained Maggot in a video yet. One of the regular viewers, he loves Maggot, so I never thought I'd have to explain who Maggot is. Maggot, he was a 90s character created by Scott Loball. His mutant power is that his digestive system takes the form of two big pet slugs that are blue. It would have been nice to have a recap page to fill us in on Maggot if you weren't reading the other Excellent Men books. My belief was always Maggot, as well as Mara, their mutations fit in much better with Generation Next. And right here you are seeing that. Maggot, his personality and stuff, it fits right in with this team. This is where he should have been. He didn't really belong on the main Excellent Men team. Ush, she is back and she has had a haircut, but I wouldn't have noticed if they didn't point it out. We also set up a potential love triangle because Ush and Decibel, they have had an on again, off again, on again, will they, won't they? They probably won't, but they will, sort of relationship. And now Maggot, he reveals that he fancies Ush. We also have this subplot which was introduced in the last issue. Emma Frosty's, she is having money trouble. She can't fund the school anymore, so she has to swallow her pride and go to her sister for a loan. Emma Frosty's has two sisters, one who is ugly and one who is sexy. And lucky us, she has gone to the sexy one. Rather than talk about all the vile things I would do to her arsehole, let's talk about Maggot some more. Here he is doing a memory of the Excellent Men, which sadly includes the awful de-aged Mr. Magnet, who has amnesia and is a good guy and is in love with Rouge. That was a Martin Quaid contribution to the Excellent Men. He was into Mr. Magnets and Rouge as a couple. All his ideas and agendas with the Excellent Men were poor. He truly sank the franchise in about as few issues as possible. But Maggott, he was a member of the Excellent Men. He was dropped from the book. The writers changed just as Maggot was added to the team. And bless him, the writer after Scott Lowball, he didn't get rid of Maggot straight away. They tried, but ultimately didn't seem to be that attached to the character, so he was written out after 10 issues. He was actually written out quite well, with a nice clean handover to this book. They said how Maggot, he was gonna gander the school, and it's important to note all this because of what ends up happening with Maggot in this book. So the boys of Generation Next, they are by themselves having a walk, and then they get attacked by this hunter, and he is called, I'm just going to read it, he is called Constantine Francis Slaughter IV. With a name like that, is it any wonder he became a stock villain for a single issue? Then we cut back to the sexy women. We get some stuff setting up their sibling rivalry and their storied relationship. And look, there is a reference to that bad retcon about Emma Frosties and Dark Smurf, which sadly will be the basis for the next storyline in this book. And then thankfully, never mentioned ever again. The sister is sexy, but not very nice. And this hunter fella, he quite quickly takes down these members of the team. I didn't think it is insulting to them to have them fall so quickly. None of them really they didn't have the best defensive powers. And the stuff with the sister, it's setting her up as an antagonist towards the team. She'll end up being like the big bad of this run. She agrees to help Emma Frosties with her money because she wants to manipulate and exploit the precious children and their precious muty powers. Her one condition for bailing Emma out is that she wants to be made head mistress of the school. Then we have this bit with Cinch, where he copies Maggot's powers, because Cinch, his power is like that. He can copy other people's powers, and he does this even though Maggot warns him that it is incredibly painful. And this definitely would have all had more impact if you knew these sorts of things in advance from some kind of recap page or something like that. It is a really nice scene and a good way to include this new addition to the book's cast and straight away give him a closer connection to one of the book's main characters. They now share awareness of how much pain Maggot is constantly in. They manage to beat the hunter. Well, Maggot does. It should be his victory, really. He frees his own slugs, and then the hunter gets fed up and leaves, never to be seen again. Then suddenly we have got Squealy, and he hasn't been mentioned before this. A recap page would really have helped out, wouldn't it? And you see, Maggot, he was meant to join this book's cast. The Excellent Men writer and the writer of this, they coordinated that. It was a nice clean handoff, but the editor of the Excellent Men book got annoyed that the writers ironed this out without him. So he just pettily said, "No, you cannot use Maggot in this book. You didn't ask me first." So Maggot, he's just written out of the book here very quickly. And the main story in this issue becomes slightly pointless. And Maggot, the character, he doesn't appear again until 2003 when he dies. And even the sexy sister, or talking about Emma Frosty's lingerie up here. It's only slightly calming us down and stopping us from getting angry at pathetic editors once again using comic books as their personal playgrounds to exert their own power, which they have wanted to do ever since they were bullied at school. A sad issue. A good issue up until the final pages, when an unprofessional editor decides to take out his insecurities on an entire audience. The guy editing this was fired in 2 issues' time. I didn't think he was the one who was being pissy though. I think it was the editor of the main Excellent Men book. The 2 books, they had different editors. And the result is that we get an aborted cast member, and the editor of this book got fired from all his books. I recommend this issue. It is a good story. It is annoying that it didn't get to mean anything. Setting up Maggot and developing friendships with these characters, it is all well done. It just didn't pay off. I can't see Maggot slotting straight into the book after this issue. He was probably meant to replace that one girl that I know now about, because she was written out right at the start of this run. The one with pink hair. I do like this run. I recommend it. It would have been good if Maggot was in the rest of it. But it's really only a crippling blow to the series if you are the biggest Maggot fan ever, like one of my regular viewers. I rate this one 7 slugs up.